Today we're going to talk about semantics, and that's working from the book Contemporary Linguistics by O'Grady, Archibald, Aronoff, Rees-Miller. This is the book that we are using for our Introduction to Linguistics course, and we are working from Chapter 6, which is about semantics. We're going to talk specifically today about thematic roles. So thematic roles are the semantic function of nouns in the sentence, and that's with relation to the verbs. Different thematic roles are agent, that performs an action, theme, undergoes an action or movement, source is the starting point of movement, the goal is the ending point of movement, and the location is the place where the action occurs. Now there's more themes and a lot more to semantics than what we'll address in this video today, and which is fine because this is just an introduction to linguistics course, not a complete introduction to semantics course. So thematic roles correlate with the syntactic position, and that's not always obvious in surface structure. So if you'll remember in syntax, we did some deep structure work, and the thematic roles are assigned in the deep structure, and that may not match in the surface structure. Well, the thematic role will match, but the location of it may not match in the surface structure. The agent is the first role that we'll talk about. So the agent of the sentence is the entity that performs the action. In my neighbor went to the store, my neighbor is the agent because that's who's actually doing the going to the store, right? In Sam is writing a novel, Sam is the agent because that is the who is writing the novel. In our tree over here to the right, Sam writes a novel. Sam is the agent because Sam is the one who writes the novel. And at deep structure, the role of the agent is assigned to the noun phrase from the head of the verb phrase. So writes is going to be the big assigner of many roles. Next is the theme. The theme of the sentence undergoes the action of the agent. So in this tree to the right, Molly threw the ball. The theme is the ball, and that is the thing that underwent the throwing. So again, the head of the VP threw assigns the theme or assigns the role, and the NP in this situation is the theme. The theme may be a result of the action of the agent. Sam writes a novel, so a novel is the theme. It's the result of Sam's writing a novel. Molly threw the ball. The ball is a theme. The ball undergoes the action of throwing. And the role of theme is assigned to the NP complement of the verb at deep structure here. Next are the source and goal. So these have everything to do with prepositional phrases. So the role of source is assigned by the prepositions. The icicle fell from the roof. The roof is the source, and the starting point of the action was falling. So it came from the verb, and then from is the preposition that assigns the roof as the source. The next one is the goal. The goal is the end point of the action. So the role of, this says source, but it should say goal. The role of goal is assigned by prepositions as well. The boy ran to his mother. So his mother is the goal. This is the ending point that the boy runs to. And look at our prepositional phrase over here. The preposition is to, and the goal is his mother, the noun phrase. Next is the location. This is the place where the action occurs, just as one would expect. So I am at home. He is in London. He is standing on the roof. They lived in paradise. The underlined words in the sentences above are all locations. And just like the previous slide, the location is also assigned by prepositions. So this is a prepositional phrase. The preposition is in, and London is the noun phrase. So it's important to note that thematic roles are structural, and you have to look at the structure to determine a thematic role. So an NP, or a noun phrase, like the house, can have any of the thematic roles, depending on its position in the sentence. So examples are before, like he ran to the house, that's the goal. She came from the house, that's the source. They're in the house, that's the location. The house creaks is the agent, and she painted the house is the theme. These are all surface structures that match their deep structures. So that is why you can look at the position here to see which role it may be. So thematic roles have a lot to do with movement, and they're assigned again in deep structure. They're another reason for movement and for deep structure to make sense, actually, more than just question making. So, but we'll see how this, when we look at the passive sentences and the WH questions. So who, what, when, where. So here are some examples of passive voice sentences. And they come from be plus past participle. So this is where the subject of the sentence actually came from deep structure from the end of the sentence. So the horse was ridden, the house was painted, the money was stolen, rather than John rode the horse, or John painted the house, or John stole the money. The subject of the passive sentence is the complement to the V in the deep structure. So it's the NP down there. And the NP is the theme of the sentence. So it's assigned this role as the complement to V. So from ridden, the action that's going on, the horse is the theme, not the agent of the sentence. And you can see that in deep structure here. So the complement of the V then moves to the specifier of the IP, which is the subject position, right, to produce the correct word order. So the subject of this sentence is the horse. However, the theme of the sentence is also the horse, even though that's not the regular position for theme. Theme position is at the end there in the noun phrase that goes inside of the verb phrase. So this is why deep structure is important for figuring out thematic roles. The advantage of movement here is that the thematic role of the horse can be explained. Since the role of theme is assigned to the complement of the verb, movement lets us explain why the horse can both precede the verb and be the theme of the sentence. So WH questions are similar to this. So what's the thematic role of the WH phrase or underlined phrase in the questions below? Where did you go? That one is location. What did he buy? That one is theme. Who went to the store? That's the agent. So sentence 2, what did he buy, is drawn over here. The deep structure is drawn over here. So he did buy what? And what is assigned the theme from the verb buy. In the deep structure of sentence 2, what is the complement to the verb where it is assigned the role? And then it will move. So then it moves up to the top, up to the front, but it keeps its theme. So in sentence 2, what then moves to C, giving the correct word order because of the complement to V at deep structure. It keeps the role of theme, even though it's in the position of agent, it keeps the role of theme. So in summary, we do need the deep structure because the thematic role of an MP may not match its sentence position at the surface structure, as with passives or with WH questions, or some WH questions. When thematic roles are assigned at deep structure, this mismatch of thematic roles and structural position can be explained.